All right, we're going to talk about the agent builder feature that we have on Pitchit. Now, if you've been with us for a while, let's say since 2024, you probably have agents that you built using very different tools than the ones we have available today in November 2025. And so those will all be housed under the table of legacy agents, and you will see them available here. But if this is the first time you've been to your agents tab, you might not have anything in the table up top, which is for the new agents that we have. And so what I'm going to run through is how you can create your first agents. Now we have two kinds. We have basically lead qualification agents and then inbound AI IVR agents. They are very similar, but there are some differences. Lead qualification agents are typically designed to qualify a lead, look for sales opportunities, and typically are used in outbound campaigns. Inbound IVR agents are used for support and for sales purposes and typically are for inbound campaigns. And so that's really how we differentiate. Is it for inbound or is it for outbound purposes? Now, we're going to run through how to create both. So the first thing is we're going to create a lead qualification agent. So lead qualification agent demo is what I'm going to call the agent. It is going to be a lead qualification type. Now, again, this is generally going to be used for outbound campaigns. So think broadcast or workflow campaigns on Pitchit. So if you want to launch a campaign on Pitchit that's either broadcast or workflow, you will have had to have completed this step first because we will ask you to attach the lead qualification agent that we're creating in this video to one of your campaigns before you can actually launch that campaign. So long story short, this is definitely a good place to start. Make your agent here. The description's more for us to understand what's this for. So qualify leads from form fill on our marketing website using outbound sequences, including SMS, voice, email, WhatsApp, right? Cool. Next thing is we're going to ask you which features you want to turn on. These are all totally optional. But generally, I'm going to run through each of them, what they mean. So lead scoring, this is effectively telling us that you want to have the AI agent score leads in real time as cold, warm, hot, or closed won, as well as disposition that lead all throughout the journey of that person and how they converse with the AI agent. So basically, every conversation that a particular lead has with our AI agent, it's going to be scored every step of that conversation. So every word they say to the agent's going to affect the lead score. So if it starts out and they're asking questions about product, it might be a warm lead. If they start asking about pricing, it might be hot. If they book a meeting, it might mark it as closed won. But if they start going backward, like saying, I'm not interested or stop talking to me, it'll go down to cold, which is the lowest score we have. And so if you tick this box, it's going to enable lead scoring. And then inside of our webhook and API, you're going to start seeing lead scoring be included in our outbound data that gets exported to your system. Meeting scheduling is more of a call to action. So while we're having a conversation with one of your leads, do you want the AI agent to offer a time in the future where they can actually book a meeting, or is that not relevant to your business model, right? There's some hybrid examples where maybe you have a call center and they can only take inbound leads. So typically meeting scheduling would not be relevant to your business model. But if an AI agent books a meeting and then the AI agent calls them at that meeting time, and the only function of that call is to transfer them inbound to your call center, all of a sudden it might actually make sense to do meeting scheduling. So don't be so quick to just say you don't want meetings scheduled. If an AI agent's booking the meeting and making the calls and transferring inbound to your call center, you might actually be able to take meeting scheduling and offer it to your customers while still being an inbound call center. So we can turn scheduled meetings effectively into inbound calls. We have a nice case study on that on our website. The next one's language translation. So our default agent is going to be in English, and that's just because in North America and the Caribbean, that's the primary language. But the AI agent can actually speak multiple languages, and we give you the option to allow the AI agent to switch to Spanish or French or Italian or various other languages if the person that the AI agent's talking to is speaking or writing in a different language. You basically give us the right to change the language by ticking this box. This Could be relevant if you have bilingual or trilingual call centers. And in that case, you might want an inbound call transferred in, even if they speak Spanish, for example, because maybe you have Spanish speaking people in your call center. But if you don't, if you only have English speaking people in your call center, then you might want to turn this off. And so we give you the option to turn it on or off. The AI agent will then just basically speak in the native language of whoever they're talking to versus like hard coding English as the only viable way of talking. Product info, this is if you want the AI agent to be able to answer questions about your product, the price of your product, the features of your product, the speed of your product, the offer or discounts, how it compares to competitors, etc. So most of you will turn this on if you're selling a product or service and you want the AI agent to actually have conversations about that offering. But if you don't and you just want the agent to say, the call center can answer that question, or let's book a meeting, someone in sales can answer that question, and you don't want the AI agent to actually answer it right now, then you would turn it off. I like to have it on because I think it's better to have the AI agent answer the question it's being asked right away and then book a meeting with a human sales rep to close a deal. But some people don't want that, and so we do make it available to turn that on or off. FAQs is very similar. The only difference is that it doesn't necessarily have to be questions about your products and services. Maybe it's just like general questions about your billing, your return policies, your cancellation, your just contextual, who is this, why are you calling, how do you compare to competitors. Those are good for what we call FAQs and objections. So you can check this box if you want to include FAQs and train the AI agent on them. The next one's serviceability. And so serviceability is a really cool feature where the AI agent effectively has access to a bunch of first-party data on utility providers like energy, water, gas, electricity, as well as telco. So think like ISPs and mobility providers. If you tick this box, what's going to happen is the AI agent effectively will ask the person that it's talking to for their address, and then it's going to fetch all the telco and utility services that are available at that address and present a catalog of options to the recipient. If that's not relevant, or if you don't want the AI agent to do API serviceability lookup, then you turn it off. But if you turn it on, that's what it's going to do. It's basically going to find the best internet, mobility, water, gas, electricity, home security, etc., that might be available to the person they're talking to, usually based on their physical address. Time zone, this is relevant to almost everyone in America because we have 3 time zones, and so, or actually we have several time zones. If you include Alaska and Hawaii, we have more than 3. And so if you tick this box before booking a meeting, the AI agent will actually ask the recipient to confirm which time zone that they're in, just to make sure that you're booking a meeting for the right time zone. Because maybe your call center is in Central Time, but the person we're talking to is in Eastern Time. And so they'll say book a meeting at 10, and for you, that's 10, but for them, that might be 11. And so it just allows the AI agent to calibrate and ask one more clarifying question about time zone. So for most American-based clients, you check the box, but we have some clients in the Caribbean that only sell in one country, for example, in the Caribbean. And if you're a Jamaican-based service provider and you only sell to people in Jamaica, you don't really need to ask for time zone because everybody in Jamaica has the same time zone. So it would almost be weird to ask, and they might not even know how to answer it. And so we do make it available to turn it off. And if you turn it off, the AI agent is just going to stick with the time zone that you created your account on. So when you first created your Pitchit account, the super admin told us where your HQ's physical address is, and it'll just default to that address if you turn it off. If you turn it on, it will basically allow you to use the AI agent globally because it's going to ask for time zone and conversations before booking a meeting. So these are all optional. You can choose them all. You can choose 1. You can choose 6, 4, 3, doesn't matter. But that's a brief overview. I'm going to select them all just to make this demo more simple. I'm going to show you every feature, and then you can parse it. You can pare it back if that's overkill for you. Next step, so you could create a blank product if you want, but I think it's easier to add sample products, and that's because you can kind of reverse engineer how we created it, given examples when you do it this way. There are a lot of ways you can do this, and I would suggest you follow the instructions of this demo video first before going off and trying different ways of doing it. So one way of doing it is if you're a company like AT&T, maybe you have different internet speeds at different price points, and each internet speed might have different features and offers. And so we gave an example of AT&T fiber internet 500 megs for $55 a month, and we showed you exactly how you would basically create a product like that. And then you can include the features, so it's 500 megabytes, 99% reliability, no contract, and professional install included, right? If you wanted to go that route, you could make a second one, right? So you could do another product for AT&T, and you could make it maybe a 1 gigabyte, right? It's an internet product, and let's say that's $65 per month, right? And maybe everything about it is identical in terms of features, except the speeds maybe are different. 1 gigabyte, download speeds, 99 reliability, no annual contract, pro install, $65 a month instead of $55 a month, right? So this is definitely one way that you can build it, where each product that you tell the AI agent to learn how to sell might just be like a different price plan of a similar product with different speeds and pricing and features, right? That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is you can have this be just the only internet product, and maybe you have, let's say, like a AT&T, let's call it like, it's like a cell phone service, right? So mobility, and it's a mobile plan. Let's say unlimited talk and text, right? The service, maybe it's 88, 89 per month per line, right? And the features are unlimited talk and text in mainland USA for 89 per month. And maybe you need like requires annual contract and auto pay enabled. If you sign up today, receive a free smart doorbell. Who knows? That actually is not like that far away from what most mobile plans would have in the features, but this is another way you could do it. So the first example I gave was like bundles of products at different price points. This one is like actual different product categories, but still owned by the same company, AT&T. And so one's a mobile plan and then the other one's internet. And another way you could do it, let's say you're like a broker dealer, it could be like a completely different company, but also like their fiber internet 500, right? Also an internet product. And let's say this one's $49 per month, and it could be almost identical in every way, except that it's just a different company. So maybe in this example, you have the same product, but a different logo. And so it's just options on which product logo or brand you might want to sell. And so you could have a whole catalog that way. So like I said, there's actually a lot of ways you can break this down. I just gave 3 really good examples of how a broker dealer could do this, of how a single individual brand could do it, etc. They're all going to work well. So once you've kind of put all the products in, you move on. This next step is super similar in that you're creating a series of questions and answers and just giving context to the agent so it knows how to talk to your consumers if these topics come up, or to your customers if they come up. The only difference here is we're not really breaking it down in terms of price, feature, product name, more around what's their question and what's the ideal answer to that question. And then what type of question is this? And so I clicked the button to add some sample FAQs because I think it helps everyone not have blank slate problems where you just have no idea what to write about and it's totally empty. So we give a couple examples of just a general FAQ. So what are your business hours? And here's a solid answer. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this isn't exact match. So the customer doesn't have to exactly say, what are your business hours? They could say, when are you open? Or what are your hours? Or what's your schedule? All of those are going to just contextually match to this question. And then the AI agent is going to answer with this predetermined answer. It won't necessarily be a carbon copy paste of this answer, but it will be pretty close every time if it identifies that they're talking about this question. Now this category part's optional, but it does help the AI agent if you explain to them what kind of question this is. And in this case, we said it's just general. And it's better if it's like an organizational question, like when are you open, who are you, what do you sell? Next one is a support question. So tech support is the category. How can I contact you guys is the question, and then the answer here with different ways that you can get a hold of the support. Now, that's another way. So this is a general FAQ. This is a support FAQ. And then this one's more about billing or sales, right? And so what payment methods do you accept was the question, and here's the answer. Again, having a really detailed answer is really helpful to the AI agent, because if someone says, do you accept Visa? Well, in your answer about what payment methods do you accept, you actually gave the agent a lot of information. So if someone says, do you accept Visa? The AI agent would not just paste in this answer, right? It would just say, yes, we do, because it sees that you've told it accepts Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. And so when you're doing your testing, which we'll get into in a bit, how to test this, if you want to slightly change your answers and you're not happy with how the AI agent is answering questions on your first draft, a lot of times it comes down to just what you fed it in the answer section. So try to be a little more detailed in your answer section on your second version, and you might find that it's better at answering questions from a lot of different points of view that might ask it in various different ways. So you could also do an FAQ on sales. So just make sure that make sure that you don't put question answers about products in here. If it's like, how much does your fiber internet cost? Because you already answered that question in the product information tab. So you don't need the same information in both of these steps. The FAQ step should be totally net new questions and answers that have nothing to do with product price, product name, product features. And they're more about organizational support, billing. How do you compare to competitors? Can I bring my phone with me on this new mobile plan? Like, is the router included? Do I have to send the router back? Do you provide installation? Those have nothing to do with product and pricing questions. They're completely net new. And so that's what the FAQ section's for, is stuff that's not related to product. But you could make it related to sales. So you could say, how do I sign up, right? That's a good question for FAQ and give the category of sales. And probably not a great question to put into product information, because how do I sign up? It is not really easy to fit into our product template. It's much easier to fit a question like that into FAQs. So that gives you a little information on how to decide which section to put your question in. Service availability, this is what I alluded to earlier. So we have a bunch of proprietary first-party data on internet, phone, cable providers across the United States and Caribbean. If you turn this on, what that's going to do is it will actually allow your AI agent to fetch all of those APIs. There's dozens of them with a physical address that belongs to the person the AI agent's talking to. And so it could actually look up what plans and products and services might be available to that person that they're talking with and present a catalog of pricing and features. And then that recipient who's in a text or voice or email conversation with the AI agent can basically pick which telco product they think is best for them and go sign up for it, right? So if you turn this box on, it's going to enable the AI agent to fetch those APIs. If you turn it off and someone says, what's available at my address, the AI agent is going to say, I'm not really sure, but I can schedule a meeting with someone and they can answer that question. If you turn this on and the recipient says, what's available at my address, the AI agent will say, I can look that up. What's your address? And then the recipient will give the address. And then the AI agent will fetch the availability and come back and say, here's the 6 internet service providers, 3 phone providers, and 3 cable providers that are available for you. And so turning it on does drastically change the potential customer experiences that are possible. Utilities is the same. The only difference is we're not talking about internet, phone, cable, home security. We're talking about electricity, gas, and water. And so it'll tell them which water providers are available. If they're in a deregulated space, it'll tell them what kind of electricity is there and what gas is there for energy. And it works the same way. So we have a bunch of proprietary data. It's going to fetch what's available through all those APIs given a physical address. And so it will ask for their address if you turn this on as well. Once that's done, you click create and it'll take you back to this page and you'll see that you now have in your table, you have this new agent. So let's say that you've done some testing and the agent was great at answering, let's say, half the questions, but not that great at the other half. All you have to do is go and replicate the agent, make the necessary changes to the product info, FAQ, and agent feature steps, right? And then create a new one and just give it a different name. So like if you go back and give it the name of like V2, right? You can launch it and it will show up in the table as the second version of the lead qual agent demo AI agent. And now you can attach this one to a campaign and test your second version and just keep reiterating, keep repeating that process until you find a version that it checks all the boxes for your team that you're happy with. So that's how you make a lead qualification agent. We're going to get into an inbound AI IVR. And so let's talk about how you can make a inbound AI IVR. This is not lead qualification. It's a different type. Very similar to lead qualification though. Just there's fewer options that are relevant contextually to the AI agent training, but then inside of the configuration steps, there's a lot more robust capabilities in an inbound AI IVR because it's not just qualifying sales opportunities, it also has to triage customer support. So there are some slight differences we'll kind of get into. I'm going to say inbound AI IVR for our 1-800 hotline to triage support and sales opportunities, then disposition each call. Okay. Now, the voice options, I'm going to run through these. Just like in lead qual, we do have a couple of totally optional options that you can choose. So ask for time zone. It's the exact same as lead qual. We just want to know if you're selling into multiple time zones so that when we do talk to customers, we kind of have some context around where physically they are and what 9 o'clock a.m. means to them compared to us. FAQ is the exact same as well. So it gives you the option to have frequently asked questions and their associated answers. And then scheduling appointments. This is a little different than the lead qual agent because in a lead qualification agent, you're not on the phone necessarily with them. You might be in a text message or an email or a WhatsApp conversation, and so you want to move it to the phone. And in order to do that, you have to know when would be a good time to call. I'm just role-playing a user story, right? But in an inbound AI IVR, you're not texting. It's always an inbound call, so you're already on the phone with them. And if you want to transfer them to your call center, and it's 1 a.m. and your call center's closed, then you're going to want the schedule appointment turned on, because if it's off, the AI agent's just going to say it's 1 a.m. and our call center's closed, call us back tomorrow, and it's going to hang up. But if you allow it to schedule an appointment, it would say it's 1 a.m, our call center's closed, but we are free tomorrow at 9 a.m. Would you like us to schedule a time to call you back at 9 a.m.? And they can say yes, and then it would schedule a time, and the AI agent would basically call them the next day at 9 a.m., and your call center would see the calendar appointment on their schedule as someone that wanted a call, and the AI agent will attempt to call them at that time. So it's usually helpful, but we do make it optional because maybe it's not relevant to your flow. But that's what would happen if you turn these on or off. Next step is similar to the lead qual agent builder, but instead of building products, we're building departments. And you can think of this as like branches to an IVR tree. The AI IVR is looking for how it can triage the calls. So you could have a triage for like SMB sales. You could have a triage for like enterprise sales, right? You could have a triage for, let's say, tech support. And maybe you'll have another one. Let's do another sample department for, let's see. Yeah, billing, right? And all you need to do is once you create the department, just fill out the contextual information. Now, when you do say add sample department, we show you an example of a really well done description. Try to keep your descriptions around the same length and as descriptive as the examples. This is really where it's worth a couple of minutes of your time to sit down and do it right the first time. Because if you don't give us good information, the AI agent won't be very good at triaging. And so make sure you take your time. So we're going to run through these one at a time. The name is important because it does tell the AI agent what is this department. So don't put department 1, put tech support, right? The description's important because contextually it helps them understand this is for customer support and tech assistance, right? It's just a little bit more information around the name. The function and routing criteria, don't leave these blank. So in this example, we say the function is to help with product issues, answer questions, and resolve problems, right? That's going to help the AI agent know that its job is to not sell something, but service a customer and resolve their problems and understand their problems and know that they're probably calling in because of product issues if they're being transferred to this number. So it will know that if someone's talking about how they're having issues with troubleshooting their product, well, because you've given them the function of resolving product issues, right? Then it's very likely going to transfer them to this department versus SMB sales. You know, this function might be totally different about buying something. And so if someone says they want to sign up, the AI agent's not going to send them to tech support. It's going to send them to sales, and it'll ask them, are you an SMB or an enterprise? And then it'll know which sales department. So that's why these functions and routing criteria are important to spend some time on. The keyword section is really like a way for you to hard code in specific keywords that almost always would trigger a transfer to this department. So if someone says troubleshoot, maybe that like is a huge red flag that they shouldn't talk to billing or sales. They're a customer and they're having issues and they need tech support. If that's the case, put that in as a keyword. And so you can have unlimited keywords in here. Just know that you don't want keywords to be shared. So you don't want troubleshoot present in tech support, but also present in SMB sales, because then the AI agent is going to be super confused which department to put them in, because these keywords are very high triggers to tell the AI agent which team to put it in. So spend some time working on the keywords, but don't duplicate them across departments. Next piece is how do we transfer the call? So if they're on the phone and the AI IVR has identified that it needs to go to this department, we're going to ask you how to transfer the call. And you know, you can choose both of these, but you can't leave it blank, because the AI IVR, it needs to transfer the call somewhere or schedule the meeting somehow in order to end the call. Otherwise, it could just turn into a never-ending conversation where we can't actually do a call to action, we can't transfer, we can't book a meeting, we can't solve problems. And so we could basically just like the AI agent can never do its job. So we do require that you pick either like a TFN, so let's do 888-888-8888, right? That's the transfer number, right? Or you can do a SIP URI if you want to do like a SIP refer or a SIP transfer, and you're transferring to maybe like a VoIP system. Sometimes a PSTN transfer costs more than a SIP refer or SIP transfer would. And so we give you that option to either give us a URL, or I guess you could call it a URI to make the transfer, or if you'd rather us transfer to like a local area number, or if you're in the Caribbean, this is where you'd put your VLN. Or if you're in like a local city, you'd give us your local area code number, or if you're like an international call center, you'd give us your TFN here in the phone number section, and not include a SIP URI. So it's totally up to you. We make both options available. Now I'm not going to do 4 of these departments because I think this will get a little repetitive, but I will do a second one. So let's do one for sales. And so this is the second department. We're going to give it a different description. This is for sales, pricing, and billing conversations, right? Or sales, pricing, and billing for new customer sign up, right? That's the description of this particular department. We're going to assist customers with signing up, understanding our products, and pricing. And then the routing criteria is questions about pricing, billing, competitive landscape, product, right? There you go. And we don't want help or support or issue or problem or troubleshoot, because that would be double dipping. You'd have the keyword in both. But we want sales, cost, pricing, quote, maybe the name of your product, like you could put in your product name here, etc., right? So these are good ones. And then again, we do let you choose different destinations, like maybe the support department has a different TFN or SIP URI than the sales department does. Maybe they're both the same. In this example, I'm just making them both the same, but we do give you the flexibility to change them. So you could have different numbers here. You could do it like a PSTN here and a SIP URI here. That's also supported. So you make that choice, and then you go to the FAQ section. I'm not going to go through this one again because we just went through it on the lead qualification agent, and it does actually work the exact same. So you just add in your FAQs, and you'd create your agent, and then you'd see that you have another new agent, but instead of being a lead qual type, it is a inbound IVR type, and then it shows you all the different things that you've enabled or disabled, right? And it does work the same way, where you can basically duplicate your inbound IVR and make a new version, and then launch and test the second version, third version, until you're happy with the final version, and then maybe that one just goes live. So long story short, this is, again, very critical first step in Pitchit. You do need to create at least a single agent, because if you're going to launch a broadcast workflow or inbound campaign with us, it's going to ask you which of these agents from this table you want to assign to the campaign. And so you'll have to start here, but once you finish this, you will head over to the campaign section and start attaching it to a live campaign, and that's when it'll start actually talking to your customers. And we have some other videos on how to build those campaigns. Go watch those, and at that point in time, you will be able to have it attached to a live campaign. Without further ado, though, thank you for watching. That's how you can create inbound AI IVR and lead qualification AI agents on Pitchit. Thanks.